Welcome back to the Twala Bears. Expats think that moving to the Philippines is cheap, but the truth is, um, you're going to have empty pockets before you even start settling in. So I'm going to talk about it and what I've experienced in my almost 10 years living here in the Philippines. So when I got here, of course, I'm new, didn't know what to expect. And one of the biggest helps I had was my girlfriend. She was able to find an apartment for me, and we were able to move in together. But I didn't realize how much the moving cost would be, and all these other little fees and costs and moving expenses would run me. So, to make a long story short, I spent my wife and I we talked about it earlier, and when we went over how much it cost us to actually buy everything that we needed to get started, it came out to about literally about $7,000 US. In the grand scheme of things, what I ended up paying for everything that I wanted, because you know we're really stubborn, us Westerners. We want the things that we want, not the things that we need, and realize we don't need later on, and we just buy them. And so I actually spent probably about 20,000 US dollars when I got here. Yes, when I got here. So I'm going to cover some of the things you might expect to see, but you're going to have some empty pockets when you get here because you're so excited to move to the Philippines. You want to start a new life and you want all these toys around you. You want everything, right? So when you get here, you're not frugal. You just have all this uh, big U.S. money, these dollars, and you want to spend because you know the cost of living is cheaper here, but it all adds up. Number one, let's talk about flights. You paid a big ticket, right? Before COVID happened, the price of airline tickets were cheap. Not anymore. Once COVID was done and everybody was itching to fly, those tickets were super expensive. I remember I was looking to get a flight to go home, but after COVID, and it was just too expensive. I'd rather save the money. So it looks like costs have come down, but the cost of tickets are still expensive, depending on you live on the west coast of, like say, the U.S., or you live across the world, or you live on the east coast of U.S. I mean, depending on where you live, your tickets can run you in upwards of probably a couple $1,000s, right? Am I right? I've looked. And so that's one expense you're going to need when you come here to the Philippines. You're going to have to pay for your plane ticket. And when you get here, what are your plans? Do you have a long distance relationship? Do you have an LDR waiting for you that's going to take her so you could spend the night at her house? Or are you going to have like what I had? I had a girlfriend already set up an apartment for me already. So from day one, I moved into my apartment. Or are you going to be an expat just coming right off the airplane and you have to get a hotel? You're going to have to get a taxi or a grab. And already you're paying fees right when you get here. Your pockets are being emptied. So that's an expense you're going to have when you get here to the Philippines. So what are your plans? You're going to get a hotel. You're going to go look for an apartment, brand new, or you're going to what are your plans to get here? So when you get here, you're going to spend some money. You're going to either stay at a hotel or you have somebody to pick you up to go to your, maybe you have an apartment set up. So that's another expense. Taxis, transportation to get to your hotel or where you're going. Also, once you get here and you have, let's say you got your apartment already, you're going to have to pay for that. That apartment is going to cost you rent. Not everybody has the money or wants to even purchase property here. You can't really purchase property. Only your wife can. Um, Only a Filipino can. So, but most likely, my guess is you're probably going to rent. So here in the Philippines, most likely, almost every place you're going to go, they're going to want first month's rent and last month's rent. So be aware of that when you come here. So emptying your pocket even more. You're going to have to pay for utility deposits. You're gonna have to pay for to get electricity set up. You're gonna have to pay for the water, and different thing, internet. You're gonna want internet. So here now, it's a lot more available than when I got here in 2016. You could find internet um, pretty much anywhere, unless you're really, really far into the province. But pretty much you can have internet service put in. So you're going to want internet. So there you go. There's some more fees you're going to have to pay. Be aware of that. When you move here, you're going to need the essentials. You're going to need beds. You're going to need fans, refrigerator, cooking gear. When I moved here, we had nothing, but I had some time while my girlfriend at the time was setting up. I came here early and I purchased a refrigerator. And you'll see in the apartments, most of them are bare. Um, it's not like in the States where a lot of times they already provide you with air conditioners and they provide you with refrigerators. No, not here in the Philippines. Unless you get, there are some places that will give you full refrigerator, aircon, the whole works, but you're going to pay for those premiums. And most apartments here are bare. You won't get anything. So I had to buy a refrigerator. I had to buy washer and dryer because, uh, us Americans, we're not used to doing the old fashioned version of hanging clothes on the line. And we do that also because electricity is so expensive. That's another fee you're going to have to pay is, do you want washer? Do you want a dryer? And so that gets expensive. We had a young daughter. She was 7 years old, but we had 2-bedroom apartment. So I had to buy 2 beds. I had to buy beds, refrigerator, washer and dryer, sofa, something to sit on other than chairs. There was an expat I knew here. He was so cheap, but he had a girlfriend, but he refused to buy any furniture. He had like a table and these wooden chairs. That's all he had. And I remember she was like, man, this guy's so, what we call kuripo, so cheap. He wouldn't even buy furniture. So I'm not talking about doing something like that. I still wanted comfort. And you're going to want some sort of comfort in your apartment, right? So we went and bought sofa, chairs, kitchen table, the works, right? You're going to need like plates, dishes, all that kind of stuff you need to start an apartment. So be aware of that. Those are hidden costs that you don't realize when you get here, but you're going to need all that. Another thing, immigration fees. So um, when I got here, my girlfriend and I, we didn't get married until like 3 years ago. We've been girlfriend for the better part of most of our relationship. It wasn't until when COVID happened, and then we were like, you know what, babe, let's go ahead and get married. Let's do it because we don't know what's going to happen with this COVID and immigration. I could get shipped out. And so be aware, you're going to have immigration fees. So, those, I know what it was like to go every 2 months. And I used to do this like every 6 months. I don't know if they still do this or not. I have to go check. But I used to go every 2 months to go to the immigration office and pay for my visa fees. And I remember at the time it was about $30 a month, and it came out to about $60 every 2 months. So could you imagine? Those are other fees that you don't realize that you have. You have these, if you're on a tourist visa, that's like $60 every 2 months you have to pay. There you go. There's fees right away when you get here. They're going to charge you a fee to try to get your ACR card. You're going to need this identification card. And I think that's like 5,000 pesos, which is about closer to $100. You're going to need that when you come into the country if you plan on staying here any longer than just the 30-day visa that they're going to give you for free. So what's nice for me is, I'll show it to you here, is this card right here. I love this card. You know what this is? This is my permanent visa because I married my wife. And so now I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay visa fees anymore. I don't have to go in every 2 months and pay $60. You know how much my visa fees are for being married? Yeah, you guessed it. 300 pesos a year. Every February or March, I have to go into immigration and pay my little fee of 300 pesos. And then the ID card is good for 5 years, by the way. Just in case you're thinking about marrying your girlfriend, that'd be nice. I'm not against marriage here, so think about that. If you're really close to this woman and you really feel like you want to take the next step and get married, that's a great advantage to have. So be aware that's a big fee you're going to have when you move here to the Philippines. Immigration fees will kill you. And it's just an inconvenience to go every 2 months um, to renew your tourist visa. So another thing, another fee you're going to get here that's going to empty your pocket is banking. You're going to pay whatever transfer fees. I use an international transfer fee for my bank, so they charge me $25. I use that every like 3 or 4 months, and so it averages out to about $8 a month. And I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. So other people have other ways they send money: Remitly, Zoom, Wise. I've heard of different ways they send money, but you're going to get charged to transfer your money. And so be aware, those are other hidden fees that you don't know, that you don't realize that's going to eat into your budget and eat into your costs when you move here. Another thing is we talked about transportation. So when you get here, unless you plan on buying a car, what I did was I knew I had my girlfriend and her daughter. I said, well, how can I transport them if we wanted to go somewhere and I didn't want to buy a car? So I ended up buying what they call a tuk-tuk, which is like a three-seater, four-seater. So I bought one of those just to transport my girlfriend and her daughter around. I ended up buying two motorcycles, and then eventually I bought a used car. So when you get here, your mind kind of spins. You know, you're kind of like, I need transportation. I need to buy a car, or I need to buy a motorcycle. I need to buy. But eventually, I didn't even need the motorcycle anymore because it just got too crazy to drive here on the streets. I needed to be more safe. Also, when we had the tuk tuk, it was great while we had it, but eventually I needed to sell that also because it still wasn't as safe for our family to drive around. We were taking longer distances to travel to the grocery store. So, they drive crazy here in the Philippines. So it was like I could just feel the wind of these cars moving on the highway right by our small little trike, our small little three-seater bukyo, or what we call tuk-tuk or bukyo here. So your transportation fees are going to be um, uh, there for you. If you want to take a trike from our house here, if you want to take a special ride, it's going to cost you 30 pesos. So maybe like 60 cents, 60, 70 cents to travel within, I'd say like 1, 2, 3 kilometers away from your house. And so that'll cost you. If you want to take a jeepney, be aware, you guys are probably big American people, usually bigger than most smaller Filipinos. They fit like up to 18 people in these jeepneys. Have you seen them? I'm sure you've seen Filipino jeepneys. They're like a long jeep, and it'll take you down the main road for a fraction of the cost. I mean, I think my wife said it was something like 13 pesos to get on a jeep. I mean, that's nothing. That's like 15, 20 cents to get on one of these things. But are you willing? I tried. I'm 5'10". I tried to get in the jeepney, and it was like I couldn't do it, man. I was squished in so small. I hit my head on the top of the jeep. So if you want to ride like that in the Philippines, okay, well, you're going to save money, 13 pesos only for a ride, but are you really going to do that every day and everywhere you go? It's up to you, right? So another thing is healthcare. Um, I can't relate to any kind of healthcare plans here. I know that's a big a big priority for a lot of expats coming here. I don't know any of that because I don't have any health insurance. I told my wife, if I get a heart attack and die, I die. Please do not send me to the hospital where you're going to have to pay all these fees. Now, if I break my arm, if there's something that could be fixed on my body, that's fine. I'll go in and I'll just pay cash. When I moved here, my wife had an appendectomy that cost $1,500 at the time, US. So $1,500 is nothing to get a surgery, to get an appendectomy fixed. So I was just going to pay the cash. And that's how I am here. I don't deal with medical insurance. But if you want, I've heard expats talk about there are plans here you can get, but I don't do it. If I have a problem, I'm a retired US military guy. I'll just travel back to the States if I can make it and go to the VA hospital if I have to. So there you go. Just be aware that's another cost you're going to have if you get here. I would try to be as healthy as you can. But if you need medications, that's other stuff you're going to need, more fees. That's pretty much just a small list of things. So be prepared because when you get here, you're going to have empty pockets. I spent 7,000 on just the bare necessities when it came down to refrigerator, washer and dryers, beds, bedding, kitchenware, everything we needed to move in, right? But I ended up spending up to 20,000 because I ended up spending 5,000 on a trike, another 3 or 4,000 on a couple motorcycles. And so when you get here, a lot of times you think, let me just spend this money. I got it. Let's just spend it. We got it. But then when you realize it, when you finally settle in, you realize you don't need all of those things. And you're going to figure out what is a need and what is a want. So when you move here, you're going to empty your pockets. Guaranteed. You're going to want to spend it on your girl. If you have one, you're going to want to spend it on the things that you want, living the Western lifestyle. If you want to eat at restaurants every day, you're going to find yourself spending a lot of money when you get here. Just be wise. When you get here, don't open the bank. Come here and just watch and just don't buy hardly anything. Just barely get settled in and figure out what you're going to need long term. And so that's all I have for you today. Just want to let you know it's not as cheap as you think moving here to the Philippines. So be aware. Don't empty your pockets when you get here. Please do not empty your pockets. Get here. Be a minimalist at first and then figure out from there what you really need and what you really want to buy. And now look, I don't even have the trike no more. I don't have those 2 motorcycles no more. I do have a car, but life has changed and life will change for you the longer you live here. So when you move here at first, don't go crazy and empty your pockets. Wait and live here a bit. So that's all I have. Thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Twala Bears. Appreciate it. You guys have a good day, huh? Bye-bye.